I lied to my sister when I said it was just the wind. I wrote this after we crossed the frozen wasteland looking for warmth, with my sister beside me. I joked about the wind voice like it was nothing. I made her laugh once, in that shallow way. I told her, yeah, the wind just learned to count. Huh. Then I heard it again under my hood, close to my ear. 1, 2, 3, 4. It pressed the numbers into my breath like they belonged there. I kept my mouth shut and it still counted. The air counted for me. We left the ridge before sunup. The sky was flat and pale. The cold hurt. My boots squeaked on the crust. Lena walked in front at first, her pack bouncing. We looked for the dark line of scrub to the southeast where the ground dipped. We had talked about it the night before, where there might be warmth. We said there might be meltwater, a vent, something that would feel like a room with a door shut. A lie, probably. I told her I could smell it. She smacked my arm with her glove and told me to save the jokes for after we found it. I started counting our steps without meaning to. I did it under my tongue, the way you do when you're bored. Only I wasn't bored, and the numbers weren't mine. 1, 2, 3, 4. The numbers pressed like fingers on the back of my teeth. The wind was quiet. The counting kept going. I felt a line tug at my left eye, as if someone pulled it to the right, toward a pane of light over the snow. I blinked. I could feel warmth there. Not heat. A promise of it. It sat just out into the plain, like a pocket. I took 2 steps that way, casual, because why not? And the warmth flowed closer, like I had leaned toward a fire. 2 more steps, and it slid away again, just barely out of reach. Left, the counting said, but it didn't say left. It said 5, 6, and the warmth tugged, and I changed our path by a few steps. No big deal. I didn't tell her. It felt like getting one over on the cold. We marked our first line with willow twigs we had cut from the last scrub patch we saw. Every 20 paces, Lena stuck one in the drift. She walked strong, her ponytail frozen into a stick. I felt good for a while. The counting stayed soft, like static in my hood. I tied my scarf tighter. I kept my jokes up. When we find this vent, I told her, I'm going to put my face on it so hard I'll leave a stamp. She grunted. The counting counted. My breaths matched it. When I tried to breathe wrong, it shoved the breaths into place. It didn't hurt then. It was just there. I thought I could use it to pace us. We had sun for a bit, just a brighter patch overhead. We hit a flat glare field where the old snow got polished. I tapped my pole and the sound came back flat, like tapping glass. Black ice. My voice died in there. Hear that? I asked. I heard myself say it, but it sounded like a recording. Lena stopped. I don't like this, she said. I could not hear the crunch of her boot. I watched her mouth. Her words came out thin. We move around. I felt the warmth off to the right again. The count ran a little faster, like it got excited. The wind didn't do that. My eyes tugged to the right, and the headache came in like a hand pushing my eyeballs sideways. I blinked it away. We'll go left, I said, just to mess with it. I took one heavy step left. The warmth nudged closer a hair, then pulled. It was toying with me. It's messing with me, I said. I made it a joke, like I was in charge. I stepped left again. The counting corrected me in my head and I laughed. It felt stupid and brave. Lena didn't laugh. She nodded and kept going. We ate in a drift hollow around mid. It was pretzels and frozen jerky. My mouth was dry. When I licked my lips, they stuck a little. I lifted my hood to take a swallow and the whisper was right there, inside the hood, not outside. Dry mouth whisper. It scraped along my gums. 7, 8, 9. Shut up, I said through my teeth. It didn't. It moved my jaw, just a twitch. My tongue bumped my teeth in the pattern it wanted. Lena saw me. You good? She asked. Yeah, I said, just counting snacks. She stared like she could hear it, too. She shook it off and shoved food in her mouth. Right, she said, but it came out wrong. Left, she said again, the wrong word pushing itself out of her. She frowned, shook her head. Right, she corrected. I said right. Ignore me. We left a sleeve of orange tape tied on a willow, a way to find our old line. After an hour, we saw the same sleeve again. It hung there in the same curled shape. I walked up to it, touched it, felt my stomach drop. The knot was my knot. The glove print under it was mine. We cut around. We didn't circle, Lena said. She said it like a fact, because facts kept your brain in line. We didn't, she repeated, and then she also said, we did, with the same mouth, like 2 tracks. She blinked. I mean, we didn't. I got loud, because that felt like moving forward. Okay, new plan. We go in a straight line from here. No drift. No looking at the light. No counting. Silence. I slapped my own cheeks to wake them up. The counting ran 10, 11 under my skin. No counting, I said again like a dare. We went. I put my poles wide and stared at the scuffs on Lena's pack and locked my feet forward. I sang the alphabet in my head to blank the numbers. My mouth dried up, my tongue stuck to my palate. It whispered anyway, drier now, like someone rubbing paper. 12. 13. I felt relief at the number sliding into place. I hated that. No counting, I said, louder. The whisper pressed my teeth together and sent me 14 without me doing it. We swapped lead. Lena went first, because maybe it was me drawing us. She muttered to herself when she walked, this habit from when we were kids. Usually little plans. This time I heard her say, okay, 10 more minutes and we'll break, and then she said, 10 more minutes and we'll break, again, but flatter, like someone taped over the first one and hit play. The second one had a weird cadence, a tiny delay, and she flinched like she heard herself echo. Did you? She started. Then she said, did you? Stop, I said. We stood there. I breathed hard into my hood. The whisper clung to the fabric and whispered back at me. Numbness crept into my left hand. It started at the ring finger and dragged up the palm like a rounded thing rolling under the skin, slow and sure. I shook my hand. I rubbed it. The numb patch slid up to the wrist, like a slug. I swore and tried to flex. Then my hand dropped off the pole because I couldn't feel it, and I fell, dumb and hard, onto my left side. The pole snapped a little at the tip. I slammed my hip and the shock went up and made the world gray for a second. Lena grabbed me by the strap and pulled me up. You okay? She asked. I told her, yeah, and I meant no. The numb moved. It climbed the forearm. I punched it with my right fist, like that would make it leave. The patch hopped, like it flinched, then kept going. My skin looked the same. No blotches, no frost nip. It just felt hollow where it passed. We kept walking because there wasn't anything else to do. The wind picked up and then dropped again. The counting moved to my breathing. In. 1. Out. 2. I could not avoid it. Every time I tried to lengthen my inhale, the whisper grabbed it and set it. I heard myself whispering without moving my lips. Lena looked back. You're doing it, she said. Doing what? Your mouth, she said. You're moving it. You look like you're saying something you don't want to say. I put my glove to my mouth. My lips were moving a little, tiny, like they were cold. They traced the shapes. I could feel a set of words pressed to the inside of my mouth, like when you bite your cheek and it leaves a ridge. If I exhaled, I knew they would come out. "Don't," Lena said, like she read my thought. I exhaled hard through my nose, and the whisper smiled anyway by flexing my cheeks and rolled the numbers over my teeth. 15. 16. Not loud, just present. "It's fine," I said too fast. "It's fine. I can beat it." That was me being cocky. That was me trying to ride it like a wave, like it was a quirk and not a hook. A little later, we tested our tracks. I made a set side by side with Lena's. We walked 10 steps. We turned around without talking. We counted them out loud together to keep it honest. We got back and looked. There were 3 sets now. Ours, and a thin line of prints between, tight and neat, like someone had walked heel to toe to save space. They weren't animal. They were boot shapes, but smaller and too even. The top layer of the crust had broken clean under each one, like the person was heavy. Lena crouched and put her glove over one. The shape was just a little narrower than her hand. She didn't say anything. She rubbed her glove together, rubbing snow into the fabric, like she was washing her hands. She started to talk to keep herself straight. "Okay," she said. "We keep the sun to our left cheek. We walk for an hour. She stopped. For a second, her lips moved without sound. Then she said, "Keep the sun to our left cheek." But that wasn't what she meant. Her eyes flicked to the other side. "Right cheek," she corrected, and clenched her jaw. "You hear it too?" I asked. "I hear you," she said. "I hear you making sounds like you're asleep." "I'm not asleep," I said. "I'm getting us somewhere warm," I added. And right then, the warmth lured again, a deep pocket in the air off to our right. I could feel it on my face like an open oven from across a kitchen. If we just stepped a few steps that way. Just a few. "Don't," Lena said. I didn't realize I had already shifted my weight. We set camp in a shallow wind scoop before dark. There wasn't much to it. We stamped a platform. We stood around a cold stove and pretended it was hot. My left forearm throbbed in a way that wasn't cold. I pulled my glove and rolled my sleeve. My skin looked normal except for a faint smear of yellow where I hit it earlier. I pressed my thumb into the muscle and something pressed back from the inside. It was a shape. You know how when someone puts their hand under a thin tent wall and pushes, and you see the palm print? It was like that, but under my skin. The pad of a palm rose under the thin skin of my forearm, slow, like it was swimming up. I gagged and slapped it with my other hand. "Stop," Lena said, panic in her voice. "Stop hitting yourself." "It's not," I said, and then I had to stop talking because I saw fingers. 4 of them pressed up, not quite where mine were. The skin bulged. The fingers flexed in a counting rhythm. I was going to throw up. I clamped my mouth shut. The whisper tried to lift my jaw anyway. I breathed through my nose fast and got lightheaded. Lena took my arm and wrapped it in a scarf and held it like she could compress the thing back into wherever it had come from. "It wants me to count," I said through my teeth. "It wants me to say it out loud. It wants me to walk where it says." She looked at me so hard I thought she would cry. "Then don't," she said. "Don't give it a mouth." We sat back to back in the dark for a while. The extra footprints were out there, near the edge of our stamped pad. I could feel them without seeing. I fought the urge to go look. The wind made that soft hiss sound that is just air. The whisper stayed under my hood and rubbed numbers into my ear. I tried humming. Humming helped for 10 seconds. Then the humming took the cadence of the count, and I wanted to tear my tongue out of my face. I stuck 2 fingers in my mouth and bit down on them just to feel something that was me. We didn't sleep much. Every time I drifted, my exhale shaped itself into a word, and my tongue moved a little. At one point, I lost the fight and breathed out 19 like it was a sigh. It felt like a surrender. The cold climbed into my jaw. The numb patch slid from my arm up into my shoulder and into my cheek. It felt like someone pushing clay from the inside. My left eye twitched and pulled itself sideways toward the right again. It hurt behind the eyeball, a tight thread pulling. I shut both eyes until the lights went away. When I opened them, Lena was staring at the tent wall. "I heard," she said. "It's not the wind." In the morning, everything was brittle. Our straps, our hair, our patience. We had to move. The warmth called to me from farther out. It knew I was getting tired. It made itself feel closer. I was not stupid. I knew a lure when I felt one. I still wanted it. We cut our platform smooth and left the tent staked. We set a rope between us because I didn't trust my feet. Lena led again. My job was to watch her hips and copy them and not listen. The black ice showed up again as a wide strip of darker glass across the plain. The sound went flat, then dull. Our voices thudded and died. The rope dragged and made no sound. The warmth was beyond it. I could feel it like a low battery charging port in a wall I couldn't see. It would be easy to cross. The ice looked smooth. I stepped like I was sneaking. "Do not," Lena said. "But it came out wrong." She said, "Do no," by accident. She heard it and bit her lip until it bled. The red looked stupid on all the white. I stared at it like it was the only color left. The whisper touched the cut and counted on the beats of the drop marks on her lip. It almost made me laugh from how mean it was. We probed. My pole found a hard layer, then nothing. The sound didn't come back. "We skirt it," I said. "We go around," I said, because I needed to hear my voice. "Don't count. Don't count. Don't count." That was me in my head, over and over, and the whisper slid in between the words and put numbers there anyway. 20. 21. Every time it said a number, the warmth bumped closer like it was saying yes. Good. Come on. I made a choice right then that I wish I hadn't. I said, 2 steps, out loud, like I was bargaining. Just 2. I put my boot down on the black patch. It did not crack. It held me. That was the small win. It felt like nothing, like stepping on glass. I put my second foot down and felt the warm air push around me, a soft sleeve up my legs. I swore in relief. It was working. I took a third step without thinking, and the ice groaned in a way I did not hear but felt in my bones. The sound had no sound. My ear hairs moved and my stomach dropped, and the rope went tight on my waist because Lena had planted herself and held me. "Back," she said, and it came out, "back," and I wanted to cry with gratitude that the word stayed true. Back now. The warmth slid away, coy. It went 1 pace forward from my toes. It was right there, like I could grab it. I leaned. I was already leaning before I knew. My mouth opened to say something like, "Just one more," and the whisper took my breath and shaped it into 22 instead. Hearing it out loud made me mad, and that made me dumb. I set my front foot, and the ice under it turned from glass to a mesh of hairline cracks, all at once, like a picture being drawn by a dozen tiny knives under my soul. I froze. The rope jerked. Lena stumbled. "Back," she said again, a command. I started to step back and the numb patch shot from my cheek into my jaw and into my tongue. My tongue went dead. I bit it hard because it was there, and because I had control of my teeth at least. The bite cupped blood under my tongue and it tasted like iron and pennies. It woke me back into myself. I took 1 step back. That was the win. The warmth moved farther away with it, and the ice under my back foot gave a tiny little moan that I felt as a shiver in my knees. It would not hold a second time. I knew that the way you know a ladder is going to slip. I did not dare to lift both feet. I could not hop. I was going to go down a long hole if I got it wrong. Lena didn't ask. She dropped her poles and lay down in a stupid, perfect slide and got her chest across the black, her face inches from my knee. She did it fast, like she had thought it through before. She wrapped her gloved hand around the rope at my waist, and she put her other hand on my thigh and pushed while she pulled. The motion scraped my boot. The ice under my forward foot spidered white. I heard nothing, and that terrified me more than any crack. The world had no edges. Don't count, I told myself. I tried to hold my breath. The whisper pulled my lungs anyway. In. 23. Out. 24. It made my breath come out in counts like a dog's pant. I clenched my jaw to stop it and bit down on my own already bit tongue and felt skin tear. I tasted thicker blood. I had tears on my face. The numb patch flicked down into my chest in a line, and my heart tripped in my rib cage like it missed a stair. For a second I thought that was it, and then my heart hit again, hard, and the patch moved on. Lena dragged me backward. My front foot popped free. The ice in front of where my boot had been turned blacker, like a mouth opening. I didn't look. I got my weight on my heels, and we belly slid on our jackets for 3 body lengths and rolled into crust. My elbow hit something hard and went numb different, the real kind. I screamed. The scream sounded like nothing. It died on my lips. That place ate the sound. Only when we rolled off the black did my scream turn back into a noise. It came out late, like the sound had to catch up. It made me laugh once. A stupid little hiccup. We lay there a while. I bled into my glove. The rope burned a line into my jacket. Lena scraped one cheek open on the ice. It bled bright cold red, and then the blood turned brown as it froze. She laughed once too, a small broken thing that sounded like coughing. "You good?" she said. It was the dumbest question, and the only one there was. The warmth hung out there like an animal we couldn't name. It hadn't moved away far. It waited, not patient, not impatient, just there. It was not a place. It was a thing that wanted me on the wrong side of the ice. That was the fight. That was the cost. We lost time. My blood was sticky and then hard. We scooted around the black for a long arc, more than an hour. Every step away, the warmth tugged my eye sideways, pulling me to the right until the headache settled into the base of my skull like a fist. The counting hid in the gaps of my words. I tried singing the stupid birthday song. It made a mess of it and turned every happy into a 20 and then a 30, and I wanted to pitch myself into a drift just to make it stop. I kept going because Lena kept going, and I refused to be the one who made her die for my numbers. We hit firmer crust as the light got mean. The wind picked up and erased our tracks behind us. I didn't like that, but I liked the other prints less. When we stopped and looked, I saw them again, the between prints, fresh and neat in the new powder. They had turned with us. They never overlapped ours. They kept to the little vein of untouched between. They made me think of a kid trying to walk without touching the cracks. I told myself not to think that. I kept my thoughts to one word at a time. Step. Breathe. Rope. Lena. We found a low ridge of blue snow, the kind that packs tight, and crouched in its lee. The sky was a flat lid. It started to spit the fine grains that trick your eyes. We set the tent faster than we ever had. I did not want to be in the open when it got dark. When I blew the frost off the zipper, my breath made a shape. Not fog. Not just fog. On the inside of the hood, it formed the word 31. The steam hooked in the shape of it and hung there for a second longer than it should, and then smeared. I touched it with my glove. My glove came away damp, and the number was on the knit like someone painted it, and it bled into the fibers. I didn't show Lena that. She saw enough when I pushed my sleeve up to bandage my arm, and the palm under my skin pressed again, this time sliding toward the elbow crease, as if to wave. She slapped my arm, yes, like before, but then she did something smart. She took the rope and wrapped it around my forearm tight and tied it off. The pressure pushed the skin flat. The thing under shifted to my upper arm, a bulge near my bicep, a slow-moving knot. "It can move," I said. "It's not just in one place. It follows the blood," she said. She had no reason to say that. "Don't listen to me," she added right after. "Fast. I don't know what I'm saying." We didn't cook. We didn't light anything. We ate cold. We sat with our knees touching and our backs on the tent wall. The fabric slapped the poles. The world was very small. My tongue throbbed like a stubbed toe. I swallowed blood and saliva and numbers. I tried to swallow them like they were food, and they stuck under my tongue, talking. Lena leaned her head on my shoulder for a second, and then jerked it upright like she remembered something. "If I fall asleep," she said, "and I start saying the wrong one, you slap me." "Okay," I said. "If I start walking," I said, "you tie me down." She laughed once without humor. "I will," she said. At some point I drifted, and in the drift I was walking the black ice again. My boots stuck, and the warmth was a sweater hung on a nail just out of reach. I could hear my mother telling me to count my steps to the bus stop the way she taught me when I was small. 32. 33. I woke with my fingers curled in the tent flap like I had been about to unzip it. Lena's hand was on my wrist, asleep but heavy. Outside the flap I heard nothing, which was wrong. There is always some sound. The sound had gone away. I could feel the hush like a weight. I did not open the flap. In the morning we moved. The light had gone white and blind. It didn't matter. We got to the crest of a shallow rise and saw the scrub in a low, dark streak. A dip. It might have been the place. It might have been any hollow. Warmth pooled over it in a quiet way that felt real, not promised. The whisper leaned on my ear like someone putting their chin on my shoulder and said 40, but I heard the word home in between the letters of the number, like the way you can hear two songs in a bad mix. I spit blood into the snow. It steamed and made a small hiss. That sound felt like love. We got there. I could not tell you how. There was a vent, not big, warm air leaking from a crack in the ground. It was enough to thaw the ends of our laces. We laughed like startled animals. We held our hands over it like children. I tried to thank whatever. I opened my mouth and my breath came out as 42, thin and obedient. I shut it and held it with my teeth. Lena cleaned my cut tongue with water and a strip of clean cloth. She kept saying, "It's okay," and once she said, "It's over," and I watched her mouth say over, and I saw her eyes go flat while she said it, like something else had worn it for her. She shook her head like a dog and glared at the air. "It's not over," she said. "Shut up," she told the world. I am not proud of how I acted after. I pretended nothing had followed us. I told myself the warmth would burn it out of me like a fever. I made stupid jokes again because that's what I do when I am scared. I said, if the wind wants to do my math homework, I should let it. Lena didn't even smile. She stared at my mouth instead, like she was ready to pin it shut. We stayed only long enough to not be fools, and then we moved. Because you don't camp on thin luck. We walked, skirting the black ice, picking our way to harder ground. The counting had a hum to it now, steady, like it had settled in. I thought it might stop if I won, if I starved it of words and movement. I stayed quiet the rest of the day, and it stayed anyway. That night, I dreamt of the extra footprints, and I woke to find the neat line of them between our tent and the crack. I know because my glove had the orange tape on it, and I put my glove in one to measure, and the fit was exact. It made me want to throw up in a clean way, like a decision. We crossed out of it. We got home. People will say I made this up because I write like an idiot right now. Fine. I did not tell any of this to anyone else. This is for you, or for me, I don't know. My sister is okay. She is quieter than before. Sometimes she repeats the last word of a sentence wrong and then shrugs like it was a hiccup. We don't talk about the vent. We keep the radio off if the static starts to count. We keep the windows shut when it's windy. I realized I was marked when I took a shower, and the steam drew numbers on the mirror without me touching it. I wiped them away. They came back with the next breath. They weren't random. They were the right ones in the right order. The handprint under my skin has been quiet for 2 days, but sometimes I feel something push on my forearm, just a nudge, like a friend at a movie pointing out the best part. It wants me to step right again, just a few steps. The warmth is always just there. I can keep my mouth shut now. I learned that. But the count is still going. Not in my head, not out loud. It's somewhere behind my teeth, soft and steady, ready to jump if I let my jaw drop even a little. Don't just sit there. Subscribe. Hit like. That's how you show me you're still out there. Do it now, before the next story starts without you. See you in the next one.